Summer of Chess comes to an end as 20 international grandmasters compete in St. Louis. USChessChamps.com presents the third annual Fall Chess Classic.
Hello and welcome back to the 2019 Fall Chess Classic. I am your host, Caleb Denby, and today, Boros is back. I'm joined once again by the wonderful Grandmaster Dennis Boros, who will be sticking it through to the end of this tournament now.
Promises.
Yes, so it was quite a weekend that you missed, Danish.
Yeah,
I'm
what
sure
happened?
You're still keeping an eye on the games.
I was on a quick 2-day vacation, but was watching some of the games.
Yeah, well, we actually had some surprises go on yesterday, so why don't we take a look at the standings and see where it lies. Here's Group A. Ray Robson actually surprisingly won his game yesterday.
It's 2 out of 2 from my perspective.
He's 2 out of 2 from your perspective. Fair enough. He actually was in a fairly equal position against Alexander Lenderman, but then the players kind of mixed things up a little bit. White gave up some pawns on the queen side, the other way around, black on the queen side, white on the king side, and Ray managed to convert to a full point, putting him in clear first going into today.
Which is amazing because he did actually win on the first day when Patrick was here.
Yeah.
He beat Ilias Smirin, but that game was very impressive.
Right, yeah. Ray playing some excellent chess. Chasing him is Jordan van Forest, as well as a myriad of players who are on 50% in Lenderman, Varakobian, Durabaili, and Daro Schwartz, and Hrant Melkumian. Definitely a lot of contenders in the A group. And over in the B group, here's our current situation. Yasser Quesada Perez was the other surprise win yesterday. He also had a fairly equal position and then managed to checkmate the Black King with some fancy knight maneuvers. So congratulations to him. He is now the B group sole leader, passing up Jack Strembuliak, who was off to a roaring start with 3 out of 3 in this event, but has since slowed down. Also chasing is Viktor Michalewski and Denis Kadrich, who are both on 3 out of 5. And with that, that's where we currently stand. Let's take a look at the tournament format that these players are playing in. Of course, there are 2 10-player round robins. That's that A group and B group that we just took a look at. The time control for this event is 90 minutes for the first 40 moves, with 30 minutes added on after move 40 for the remainder of the game. There is also a 30-second increment from move 1. There is also a draw rule in effect. The players are not allowed to offer each other a draw until Black makes his 30th move. As always, we'd like to thank you for joining us here on our live coverage. You're welcome to get involved in the YouTube chat. If you have any questions for us, please let us know. I've got some pretty tough questions in there. I don't think I can prove any math theorems. I do know the name of the tournament. It's the Fall Chess Classic.
It is indeed the
And
Fall Chess Classic.
Grandmaster Dennis Boros is, of course, from Hungary.
Yes.
So that's the answer to your current questions. If you come up with any chess questions for us, we'll be happy to answer those
We'll
as well.
try to answer those as well.
Yeah, you're also welcome to follow the games for yourself on uschesschamps.com. That's where all the action is being broadcast. And lastly, if you want to get involved on Twitter, you can use the hashtag FallChessClassic. Hashtag FallChessClassic.
Well, remember, hashtag Fall Chess Classic.
That's the one. Name of the
That's the
tournament.
one, yes.
All right. Well, why don't we just get right into it, and let's take a
Okay.
look at the pairings in Group A. Alexander Lenderman squares off against Vasif Durbaili. Hrant Melkumian is paired against Ilya Smirin. Alexander Bortnik takes on Daro Swirtz. Alex Ipatov has actually already drawn his game with Jordan van Forest. So that tournament number 2 player, Jordan van Forest, in the A group, has already drawn, giving Ray Robson the chance to pull further ahead in our key matchup of the day. He is, of course, taking on Varakobian, who is on 50% right now. Definitely still in the mix to catch up and even possibly win this tournament.
And this is the big American Derby.
The big American Derby. The 2 U.S. players square off in the A group here. Here we see the players, and it's actually quite an interesting position. A lot
Yes.
going on here.
What's actually even more interesting and exciting about this is that they actually played this line before
Wow.
at the U.S. Championships.
Yeah.
And it was a topsy-turvy game, which was complicated. Akobian had chances, sacrificed the piece, and it was a mess because Black got lots of pawns. But in the end, somehow Ray Robson found a way to break through, even though the position was around balanced.
Wow.
He managed to win it in the end game. So it was a very dramatic game. It's very interesting that they decided to actually repeat it.
Yeah. Of course, these players have played each other numerous times. I
Yes.
think the record is something like 4 wins for Ray, 8 draws, and 4 wins for Akobian.
So
or something
very
like
well
that.
balanced.
Very well balanced. And the last time they faced was actually earlier this year in the U.S. Championships.
So it's interesting, usually, just if I come back here, usually now everybody plays bishop e7. Originally, a6 and b5 was the main line. And I think Ivanchuk recently started playing knight e2, so everybody started playing knight e2 themselves.
Not a bad player to copy for your opening.
Ivanchuk is someone to copy. So queen b6 was played. This is an old line. White can actually give up a pawn. Take rook here, and if I'm correct, bishop b5. And the plan is to castle f5 and hope for the best.
Right.
Objectively, I'm not sure if this is great for White, but it is compensation and play for it. But Ray decided to go for knight a4, queen a5, c3. This is also an old line. c4 was originally played b4, because otherwise I take your knight with b5. This horsey is in big danger here.
Right.
So here b4 must be played, and the old main line is takes, bishop b4, and king f2. And in these positions, Black has these pawns that he's trying to push, and he has some chances because this knight is clumsy here on a4. But objectively, according to theory, this is advantageous for white.
Yeah, gotta love the side with the extra piece.
Yes.
No, almost no matter what.
Everybody loves the extra piece.
So
But
what was played in the game then?
So b6 was played, the idea being bishop a6. So Kobian tries to get rid of this terrible bishop,
Of course, the French bishop.
the French bishop. But bishop d2 is a big, big move here. If bishop a6, there are some c4 stuff going on. And that would be troublesome.
Yeah, the queen's
put
looking
it
a little
mildly.
bit stuck over on the a5
Yeah,
square.
so Kobian plays c4, which in general is not a great move for black. Black needs to have some counterplay in the center to actually have some play for himself. After c4, white gets free play on the king side. Now it's obviously not that easy, but in theory that was thought. Here, so b4 was played. You can't really take. Oh, you can't really take because this queen is still trapped and b4 is kind of strong.
Yeah, you need that pawn on c4 to make
Yes.
sure that the bishop can never
Yeah.
really access the queen.
Yeah. On the other hand, it's true that Kobian played c4, but this knight on a4 is totally out of place.
Right.
And so everyone who just new to this position and would like to put the knight on b2, it's good to remember that queen a3 is a typical, very strong move for black.
Yeah, it really eyes that weak c3 pawn as
Yes, this pawn would get really weak. And from here on, black's plan would be very easy. You just go b5, a5, and just roll over white.
well. Yeah, he's really putting some pressure
Yes.
on the uncomfortable points in
Yes.
white's position here.
But as I told you, dear viewer, before, this is their second game in this line, so you can guess that Robson knows what he's doing, so he didn't play knight b2. Therefore, bishop e7, castle, castle, queen c2. So there's a bit of a waiting game going on. If black would play b5, white would like to pose the knight on c5. So black is waiting for white to move the knight first.
Right.
So he plays f5. The idea being he doesn't want to see f5 coming anytime soon. And if you exchange it, like the position does open up for the better for black.
Yeah, the bishop now has kind of a path
Yes.
to freedom through d7 and e8 and eventually maybe to g6.
Yes. This is not just the Stonewall version of escaping. It's also a typical French way of escaping.
Right.
So knight b2 was played. And now Kobian took his chance to play b5, a4, knight b6. And probably knight b6 was not good because it loses time.
Yeah, white would love to keep things kind of locked on the queen side, I
Yes.
imagine, because the king side is really where white's trying
Yeah.
to push. So knight b6 kind of begs white to play this move a5,
Yes.
which permanently shuts down the pawn structure on the queen side and kind of gives him a free hand, I think, to expand on the king side.
Yeah, and the main issue is it's easy to play this with white,
Yeah.
and you don't have much space with black. So probably queen b7 would have been better. Not that white can't play a5, but at least black can already try maneuvering the knight over to g6.
Exactly.
While after these moves, black will need to waste additional time.
Yeah, I mean, black's last two moves were knight b6 and then knight back to d7.
Yes.
Obviously, it doesn't make the
And-
most sense.
In these close type of positions, it's okay to waste time, but if it ever opens up, you'll regret not being alert enough.
Right.
So knight d1, rook f7, and knight g5 was very nice. So it's not that white wants the bishop on e7, but he wants to
He wants this
open
open f file.
Yes, he wants the open f file and the potential to maneuver this knight to f4. And also this bishop is kind of dumb, as even if it reaches g6, it will just stare at the wall at best.
Yeah, just easy maneuvers now for
Yes. So knight e7, h4, kind of signaling for black that if you ever think about putting your knight there, I'm going to chase you away.
white. Exactly.
So bishop b7, knight f2, here comes the knight.
Do.
Do. Queen c6, knight h3, a6, knight f4. And it's funny, computers suggest the best move here, but I think this is the move that I'd play as well.
Okay. Is that move h5?
H5, it's black to move.
Black
Sorry.
to move. Okay. Well then, probably not h5.
Yeah, probably.
So the move that you would play.
Probably knight g6.
Yeah, I would also consider knight f8, trying
Yeah.
to take on g6 more favorably, but then maybe I think h5 from white might have been the
Yeah.
idea.
Knight f8, you played exactly like a Kobian.
Oh, actually, we do have
Fear.
a very important result in the B group. Alexander Fear has won his game against Michalewski, and that was actually a King's Gambit.
Yes.
So a very exciting game. We'll definitely have to take a look at that.
Yes, definitely. So knight g6 I would consider, meaning I really want to get rid of your knight.
Yeah,
Don't care whatever it takes, I'll do it.
right.
Not that takes h5 is not better for white, but I'd still consider this move.
Okay.
So knight f8, h5, g6, rook f2. And we're currently in this position. Actually, some moves were played already. Bishop c8. So the bishop went all over the place. But the problem is that you can just teleport this rook to g7. And even then, I'd take you.
Yeah, that's tough. And of course, white always, he's the one with the power to decide
Yeah.
when he should open up the position.
Yes.
So everything going well for Ray.
So usually Alakaine's gun is on the cards. Whenever you get these close positions, you'll see all the grandmasters get there.
Right.
So let's say all the bishops away and then just get the Alakaine's gun.
Yes, coming in the future. Well, a
And-
very interesting
yeah.
position and looking quite well for Ray.
Yeah, although can a Kobian hold? Possibly. It's not impossible to hold this position, but black can get brutally mated if he's not super alert.
Right. Well, complex positions over in the A group, especially with Ray.
Yeah.
But we do have a couple of results already in the B group. So why don't we take a look at the pairings, and then we can see, yeah, actually a couple huge results have already happened. So Steven Zierk is paired against Amon Hambleton today. Jack Stembuliak has actually already been defeated by the one Aram Hakobian, who we're actually going to hopefully get in for an interview quite shortly. Aveta Gregorian is paired against Denis Kadrich. Manuel Petrosian has actually drawn his game against Yasser Quesada Perez, who is leading this event currently. And then, of course, we just saw, actually in our key matchup of the day, between Alexander Fear and Viktor Michalewski, Alexander Fear has actually just managed to win that game.
Some zany opening right there.
Yes, some crazy stuff. So I'll turn it over to you, Denis, to introduce this game between Stembuliak and Hakobian while we get Hakobian in the studio.
So another Benoni, who would have thought? You haven't seen that for a while. So g3, c5, d5. Obviously, we've seen knight f3 being played, but d5 is the standard main line. Takes, d6, bishop g2, b5, and probably Stembuliak misplayed it because I guess knight c3 is an important move here, stopping b5. But after bishop g2, b5, this looks fairly comfortable for black, as usually it takes a lot of time for black to get that move in. a4, and knight d2, bishop a6. This looks like a very pleasant position. And actually we have Hakobian with us. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice win. So what happened in the opening? Did he misplay it with bishop g2?
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to start with knight c3.
Mm-hmm.
But even after bishop g2, I don't think that it's so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, after b5, I think it's already equal.
Yeah, because you have this firm advantage on the queen side. Also, this bishop is much better than normal Benoni bishop.
c4 square is not weak, so it's perfect position for black.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts here? Because I'm sure you were surprised to see this position. If you had this as home preparation, I will be really impressed.
Yeah. No, I just calculate e3 and knight h3 and knight f3 is not working. So I thought, okay, e3, I have to do something very fast. And I thought, okay, let's go knight g4, trade these bishops, then knight e5. And now I think black is much better just.
Yeah. Like, I guess this bishop is very useful in general defending the d5 pawn, but right here It
It's
actually
not so strong. Yeah.
actually does nothing. So knight f3, knight e5.
Actually, here
Yeah.
instead of knight f3, I calculate knight e2.
Mhm.
The idea was in knight d e5, take knight e5, queen e5, and play castle.
Mhm.
But I think here I have knight h2,
Yes.
and
And
if
you
king
have-
h2, queen h5.
Yep. And you collect everything.
Yeah,
And last but not least, these pawns are also
Yeah,
on white
and
squares
it's-
should be completely lost.
yeah, it's winning for black.
So knight f3, knight
Knight
e5,
e5,
takes,
takes,
castle, queen f6. Rook
Okay, he
e1.
can't
Yeah.
take on e5 because of bishop f1, knight
Mhm.
d7, and a1 is hanging.
And the a1's hanging.
So, but I'm not sure that rook e1 is the best move. I
Mhm.
thought rook fc1 is
Mhm.
the best.
Mhm.
Uh, but for sure, black is better
Mhm.
here.
What moves did you consider here for black?
Actually, I was calculating bishop c4
Mhm.
takes and b3,
Mhm.
what I played in the
Mhm.
game actually. Queen b3, rook b8, but seems like here it's not working because maybe queen c3, rook b2,
You can't take because of this
f4.
trick.
Yeah, maybe f4, knight g4. I'm not sure that it's working. Maybe
So
rook a3.
some rook a3.
Yeah,
And then this pawn is protected.
but even
Mhm.
here I think black is fine.
Yeah, you have immense
It's very
counterplay,
active, yeah.
and this bishop is still very dumb on g2. So rook e1, I guess you were surprised by this move.
Yeah, and I'm happy because I
Mhm.
understand that it's
Mhm.
really not
Mhm.
the best move.
Mm-hmm.
Here I can play knight c4, takes, and rook b8, but I see the line that it's pretty good for black with bishop c4.
Mhm.
So it's also better, but I
Yeah.
think bishop c4 is better practically.
Yeah, I mean, white can still fight. I'm gonna block
Yeah.
your pawn, try to defend, and just stay solid.
Yeah.
But your moves seem more concrete.
Yeah.
C2?
Takes b3.
Yes.
And now if queen b3, rook fb8, I think
Mhm.
important come with f rook. And now, okay, he don't have queen c3 because of knight f3.
Yeah,
don't
just
have-
knight f3. Yeah.
He can play queen c2 actually. Rook b2 takes. Knight f3 takes. Yeah, you have to take.
I mean, this is still a good trade.
Yeah, and actually the point is that after
Mm-hmm.
rook eb1,
Mm-hmm.
queen c3, and now I want to play rook b8.
Uh-huh. So if, let's say, here, rook b8.
Yeah,
And now you can challenge white on the only
Yeah, and
open
this-
file, and then it should
it's
be
finished,
completely
yeah.
winning. Yeah. So queen e2 was played?
yeah, which is I think the best move, but I think he missed rook b8,
Mm-hmm.
and after f4, knight c4 is very
Yeah.
strong.
I'm kind of suspect that he missed this idea.
Yeah,
Did he think a lot after knight c4?
no, I think actually 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Okay, so not that much. Okay. Knight c4. But it's kind of logical. You have two passed pawns and
Yeah.
they're rolling down.
I
the
think
board.
he missed rook before,
Oh,
I
mhm.
believe.
Yeah, although it seems fairly logical.
Yeah,
Queen
queen
e2.
e2 seems like
C4.
only move.
And
c4.
these pawns are hard to stop.
Yeah,
e4, check, c3, rook d1, queen c4. So what's the difference between queen c5 and
actually queen
c4?
c5 I think is also winning,
Mhm.
but I didn't like e5. I believe it's c2,
Mm-hmm.
rook c1, and if here rook c8, some takes, then queen e5 check. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought
So
okay.
it can get murky, although b2 is still kind of strong.
Yeah, I think it's winning too, but okay.
Yeah. So queen c4, we go to this critical position. Rook takes c2, and what did you calculate here? Because it,
Okay, I
it got a
calculate,
bit
yeah,
crazy.
Queen c2, queen e5, what happens in the game?
Mhm.
King g8, d7. I'm not sure that rook f8 is the only move,
Mhm.
but okay,
But
it's
it
the
was
best
simple
move,
enough.
yeah. Queen e8, and yeah, d8 queen and here,
Mm-hmm.
it's very important to take only one.
Mm-hmm. Because
Now-
otherwise there would be some
Yeah.
counter chances there. The queen would get extremely pesky.
Yeah, it's
On
draw, I
e5.
think.
So queen takes e1 was played, and then it's
if,
over.
And if queen e1, then queen c4 check, because
And
if
you can-
I'll take
oh,
on
yeah, you
d8,
have
then
to
queen
take-
b4.
Yeah, check
Still-
first,
Yeah,
defending.
for sure it's losing, but
And if you take, then obviously checkmate.
yeah.
A very nice game.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Who you're playing
Thanks.
next?
I'm not sure, but maybe Yasser
Mhm.
Kazada.
So maybe it will be a big match. Maybe for first place.
I don't
Well,
know.
with this tactical play, you might just go all the way. All right. So with that, yeah. So with that, congratulations
Thank you.
and see you next time.
See you.
So let's take a look at the Cobian game. And well, nothing much changed. Actually, Cobian is around 10 minutes, while Robson's on 25. So actually, even the time situation favors Ray here, which is not too surprising, as White has this plan that we already mentioned with Caleb of doubling and even tripling. But the main issue is for Akobian that that's not the only big threat that Ray has, and that is G4 ideas.
Ah, yes. So more than one way to
Yeah.
challenge this pawn structure for black.
Yes. And it's actually very funny what the computer suggests. It says bishop e3, rook g7, and of course, why not play h6 here? And the computer would not understand the laughter that would come from this side of the
Yes.
room.
Of course, h6. Once you lock up the pawn structure, there's no going back.
There's no
So
going back.
For White to win this game, he's going to need at least
must be-
one or two open
yeah.
files. So you need
Yeah, it must be g4 or something, some ways to open it up. But if this is winning, I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah, I obviously would prefer to have the pawn on h5.
Yes. So I just find that interesting that the computer would strongly suggest a move like h6, which is funny. Let's keep it at that. But talking about crazy games, I think we should still take a look at the Michalewski Fear game.
So of course, this was our key matchup of the day, actually, between Alexander Fear and Viktor Michalewski. And it was our key matchup for a couple reasons. But the main thing was it was such an interesting opening. Alexander Fear actually choosing to employ the King's Gambit.
Yes. So e4, e5, and it's kind of weird that everybody, including their mom and granddad, plays knight f3, but f4.
Yeah, develop your knights behind the pawns. That way they control the squares even more thoroughly.
Especially if you want an open f-file, you must open it first.
Yeah, when you castle, rook's going to be on the open file. This opening
gonna be
just makes
over
sense.
there.
It just makes sense.
So Michalewski, as a seasoned grandmaster he is, played d5. But, so we get a little bit of King's Gambit education. E takes f4 is the main move. And here bishop c4 is the Fischer line,
Right.
which is supposed to be around even and complicated. It's interesting that queen h4 is not the best, because black can get into some trouble after knight f3 d4, as white gets some active play. In fact, d5 is the best move here. Takes, here knight c3, and this is a long variation. This was actually played between Shimanov and the US champion Gatakamsky.
Wow, very interesting.
Also, if you like funny lines and interesting stories, knight c3 was played by the great Gary,
Kasparov.
Yes.
I know that guy.
against Karyakin in his debut at the Rapid matches in St. Louis.
Wow, very interesting.
So the first time he played competitive chess, I mean at his return, it was I think queen h4, king e2, queen e7, and after a crazy game, the game was drawn. So I do advise you to check that out. Anyways, d5 was played. This is the classical way of playing. E takes d5, e takes f4. Some people even fancied e4, but obviously taking the pawn is the main line. Knight f3, knight f6, bishop c4, takes castle, bishop e6. And this is kind of strange, because you'd think that white is better with two central pawns, but this pawn is basically killing the scope of the c1 bishop.
Right. And meanwhile, although black doesn't have center pawns, he has good squares for his pieces in the center.
Yes.
And that's what really counts.
Good piece play for white, I mean for black, that is. Bishop b3, actually preparing c4 and d4. So, what would you play here if you would be black?
With the black pieces.
And you would be concerned with c4 and d4.
Concerned with c4 and d4. Well, I don't know. I do really just like developing my pieces. But since I'm so concerned, maybe I will play the move c5 to challenge the center.
And that's the move that Michalewski should have played. And there was a Nakamura-Tomaszewski game here. And this is decent for black.
Okay.
But I think Michalewski wasn't that sure of the ins and outs of the King's Gambit, which is not surprising because
It's understandable.
I haven't seen the King's Gambit on the top for like 10 years.
Yeah, me as well.
So bishop d6, but c4 comes now, knight b6, and d4, which is a very, very pretty move.
And white does get some central space now.
So the main issue is that you can't take this pawn because you drop a knight. Oh, actually, not that
Rather
way.
unfortunate.
Excuse me, this way.
Yes.
And that will cost you a knight, and we'll thank you for participating.
And this tactic exists no matter which way you capture on c4.
Actually, with knight c4, it does work. It doesn't.
Oh, yes, but in this case you have d5, I believe.
d5, actually, this was game. Knight c4 was game. d5 doesn't work because of check and bishop takes d5.
Oh, okay.
Interestingly. So rook e1 was played by Fear.
All right, it's challenging the center then.
Yes.
The tactic's
And-
not quite winning a full piece for white,
Yeah,
I suppose.
but Fear is trying to win the piece, actually, because he's threatening rook takes e6, and bishop takes c4, and d5.
A lot of threats.
That's a lot of threats. And you know that in chess, usually if there's a double threat, a double attack, then you're in trouble. But this is a triple.
Got to avoid the triple threats.
Yeah, gotta avoid the triple. But there comes Michalewski's knight e3, solving all of them.
Impressive stuff. So
Bishop
knight
e3 takes. So it's obviously a normal decision to take on e3, but Fear is ambitious and takes on e6 and goes pawn grabbing with queen b3. What he's saying is, I'm going to collect all of your pawns and I'll be better.
It's going to be quite tough for black
Huh.
to hold on to a pawn like e3. So
Yeah.
white's not wasting his time with capturing
Yeah.
it immediately. He's making more threats.
So Michalewski plays the logical castles, take my pawn so I can develop, knight d7, queen e4. This is all logical. Rook b8, but maybe rook b8 is a bit too much. Like, he could be a little bit more stingy and defend this guy,
Right.
because it's a pawn. It deserves defense.
Yeah, care for your pawns, everybody.
And also, it's kind of a perfect outpost, potentially to get it with knight f6, knight d5. And not that this position isn't playable, but I'm not sure that black should be worse here.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, he does have this bishop on d6,
Yeah,
which
this
eyes some
is
squares, and if
very well defended.
there's a square for the knight,
Yeah.
if black can just put his pieces where they belong, then I don't think he should be too much worse. I agree
Yeah.
with you.
Also, this knight is a little bit passive, so it needs to find the space somewhere. And
Right.
if it goes to a3, it really does want to go to c4.
Yes.
So knight a3 doesn't happen without a reason. So rook b8 was played, knight a3 was played against it, knight f6, but this was a bit too much. Takes, knight c4. Now this pawn on b2 is well defended, and these pieces are starting to be much better than black's pieces.
100%.
Also, this e3 pawn is not going to survive forever.
Okay. So yeah, I guess white had a pretty nice advantage here
Yeah.
then.
Bishop f4. In fact, this is suggested, and this is a pretty nice move. This knight is a taboo because if you take, I take the h2 pawn and queen takes d5.
Right.
So bishop
And-
f4. Yeah, what you saying? Sorry.
Yeah, and if knight takes d6, I guess there's knight f4 or something, right?
Yeah, or just take.
Well, or just, oh yeah, you can just capture with the queen.
Yeah, just capture.
Okay.
So bishop f4, and this is something that we often make as beginners, like this kind of mistake, that we stick to a pawn that's going to fall anyways.
Overcommitting, yeah.
So we're overcommitted for this pawn, and we misplace the bishop just for this pawn that's going to be lost.
Right.
So in fact, I think Michalewski made his situation much worse with playing bishop f4.
Interesting.
So g3, saying, okay, I'd like to see your bishop on h6 because it does nothing there. Michalewski chases the queen away first, rook e2. And this is very typical. You double up, and even in the Grunfeld, usually you block the d pawn, and you have a knight on d7 blocking it,
Right.
and eventually this just falls. Also notice, sooner or later I'm going to play knight c e5, and then you really won't have any protection for that pawn. Queen d5, knight ce5 as predicted, takes, rook b6, rook c1. So this is pretty good for white, especially because this bishop is completely out of play, because it's staring at a pawn that will never move. Also, these pawns are pretty weak. What we learn about pawn islands.
What about pawn islands?
So we usually want to have all our pawns in a block.
Right.
And you can see that black has like at least 4 pawn islands.
Yeah, of course, you know, the e pawn's isolated,
Yeah.
the c pawn and the a pawn, none of these pawns can defend each other.
Yes.
This is the meaning of having too many pawn islands.
Yes.
While
yeah.
they might be good vacation spots,
Yes.
they don't make for very safe homes.
Yeah, those are pretty unsafe. King g8, knight fe5, and this is what I was talking about, that stranger danger, this rook will hop and try to eat that pawn as soon as a knight will come back. Obviously, that's not possible right now because that would drop a knight, but in the near future, that is going to happen. So
Okay.
a6, b4, knight d5, a3, and black was uncertain of what's going on. He should have waited around rook b7 or something, but instead played g6, which makes sense. He wants to bring the bishop back, but then tragedy struck.
Yes, of course, there's a tactic here.
Yes. So knight d7. It seems like nothing big is going on, but
Yeah,
after
you're just attacking a rook.
just attacking a rook, but after rook b7, it's going to be over.
Yeah, there's of course the killer move, rook c5,
C5.
Attacking the knight, which is actually indefensible. And then,
And even if you would go rook b5, we'd say, haha, we still take you.
yes, and then of course
And the notorious triple attack and family fork
strikes again
strikes again and
again.
and again. So bishop g7 was played, but that's kind of admitting that it's over.
Right, just giving up the exchange,
Yeah.
and now the rest was just white converting
Yes.
a very nice game.
So he just brought the king as a new form of blockading that pawn. And after that, it's just completely over, as all of the pawns are falling after rook c6.
Yeah, brought the king to a nice central square. It's perfectly safe there, defending the d pawn as well as the knight. And now white's
now
pieces are just better than black's.
Dominating. And after this, white just swooped all the pieces up, and Michalewski decided that this was enough.
Yeah, enough was enough.
Yes.
So you threw in the towel here. So
Yep.
very interesting game. Alexander Fier showing some good understanding of the King's Gambit, whereas Viktor Michalewski maybe underestimating the c4, d4 idea.
Probably underestimated c4, d4, and also I think he had good chances in after the opening, so in the middle game.
Right.
But I think he didn't really sense the danger. And actually, I think bishop f4, bishop h6 was the cause of
Yeah,
defeat.
this awkward decision to really hold on to e3, when in fact sometimes you just have to let go.
That's tough, even in life.
Yeah. Well, with the key matchups out of the way, I guess we can go ahead and check out any game that you like.
So the leader, Yasser Kezadeh, just drew
Yes, he
with Manuel Petrosian.
drew his game.
And that does set up the big match. Yasser Quezada versus Hakobian,
Yeah, absolutely.
who just won his game.
So that'll be the big thing to look out for tomorrow. Of course, Hakobian, one of the chasers in the B group, he moves to +1 in the tournament after his big win today. Also chasing Yasser is actually Dennis Kadrich, who is also on +1, and with a win today, he would move to +2 overall.
Yeah, so let's take a look at that.
Yeah. And there we see the
So-
two players working hard at the board. Dennis with a very interesting hoodie choice today.
Yes.
A very stylish stuff.
Perfect choice. It's a very pretty sunny day. Actually, it was even nicer yesterday.
Yeah, 100%.
But I understand that it was time to take out the purple.
Take out the purple. What does that mean?
I don't know. It's a new phrase.
All right. All right, so Dennis took out the purple today.
Yep,
So
he
we'll
took
see,
out the purple.
We'll see how that works out for him.
So Grigorian says with Rook B1 that A, you might want to start pushing this pawn, but I double on the 7th. And it's usually no good news.
Scary.
For
Very,
black.
very scary.
But in fact, objectively, it still might be equal, as I think maybe here. And after that, you give infinite amount of checks. Now, not that you can't lose this if you don't pay attention.
Right.
I check you, and if you go here, oops, mate.
Yes.
But
Probably important for black not to step to the h8 square, though.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to give up this h pawn with check.
Yes.
And after king f8, white does not have time to capture on h7, making a checkmating threat because black would actually queen with check
check.
himself. So not enough time for white to really make any progress.
So I will make that incredible prediction of this game ending in a draw.
Sure. Is there any way for the players to keep the game going from this current position here?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. All right. Well, looking like a draw for Dennis
Yes,
then.
it looks, all the Dennises will agree that after Rook B7, it's most likely a draw.
Yeah, I'm on board with that as well. Who am I to disagree with the Grandmasters? Well, what else is going on in the A group then?
So the early leader was Steve Durabelli, just drew with Alex Lunderman.
Oh, yes. So that's a very interesting game. Did you want to check that one out?
I'm still checking at the live games.
Okay.
And
do that as well.
let's take another look again in our key match, the Robson game.
Yeah, has any progress been made? It seems as though VAR made a very
Yes.
committal choice.
Yeah, so Rook H2 was played, Rook G7, and strange as it might seem, Robson didn't play H6. Outrageous.
Oh, very strange. Maybe Ray wants to win the game, actually.
Wow, like it's unbelievable. All right, King G2 was played. G takes, Rook F H1, and G takes H5 might seem like strange, but I think what Akobian wants is to get a little bit more space, for a little bit of more breathing space for the pieces.
Yeah, understandable. And there's a certain psychological aspect to it where it's
Yeah.
like, all right, fine, we're opening up the king side, but it's going to be on
Yeah.
my terms.
Yeah.
I get to choose. I'll take your pawn on h5. You will
Yes.
not get to capture me.
Yeah, so Bishop G6. Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes you want to demonstrate that I'm in control of the
Right.
situation.
Even if the truth is somewhere.
Somewhere around somewhere else.
Yes.
So, Bishop H5. So, Bishop H5 is an idea. You can capture it many ways, but in fact, you don't have to rush. And often in these closed-up positions, it's something to consider to put your king into safety first.
Yeah.
And
And
yes,
why not?
I make like 7 moves in a row, but what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe black has to try some way to get those last two major pieces to the king side, but there's really just
Yeah.
not enough room for all the pieces.
Yeah, so probably a way to do that, let's say king f1, rook a7, is to bring this rook over, play knight c8. I just want to demonstrate this. And rook f7.
Right.
And it still makes sense to go here because on b2 there's absolutely no danger of anything ever happening.
Right. You know, this queen side structure is locked up for good.
Yeah. So that's why it's often the case that black would do the same and hope that his king would be safe on b8 as well.
Yeah, understandable. And then I guess eventually, once everything is perfectly set, Ray is going to capture on h5 and try to break through along this h file.
So bishop h5 seems like one of the best moves because you can't really take, as if the knight enters on f6, it's over.
Of course.
It's basically game over because this knight is just a monster, and in a opportune moment I'll just play g4, and this must be losing.
But then the problem is if you don't take h5, once again at the right moment, white will capture on g6. And to keep the knight out, you might be tempted to play h takes, but then there are these invasion squares for white on both h6 and h8.
Yeah, and I hear that we're going to soon have the hero of the King's Gambit.
Yes, of course.
Alexander Fear.
So, while you wrap up some analysis here, maybe you can reintroduce that Fear game.
Okay.
I will take a step out of the studio once again, and while we get Alexander Fear in to talk about his game.
So,
And
as predicted, the Dennises were all right. It's a draw.
All right, good to hear.
So, it was okay to bring your purple. In any case, let's see a more bloody game that we just went through, the good old King's Gambit. So here, e takes f4, knight f3 is the old line. d5 would actually transpose back to the game played between Alexander Fear and Michalewski, but h6 is kind of the annoying move, and g5. And to be completely honest, I do not believe that black equalizes. Even if you do it with d6, d4, g5, I'm still skeptical. And in fact, black doesn't really want to go g4. He mostly wants to go h6, bishop g7, and I'm not sure there's enough play here. But we have Alexander Fear here, whom I really hope will disagree with me and say that this is just busted for black.
Well, actually, in this position, I would really consider to go h4, knight
Yeah.
g5, knight f7.
Yeah, now h4 is actually pretty good. Here?
Yeah.
Or, and
f6, knight h3.
knight h3,
Yeah.
wow. Nice.
Great. Old stuff.
Old stuff, and
And
this
okay, check on h5.
check and attack. Also, I'm curious about your opinion about the h6 line.
h6, b3 is good.
b3 is
nice.
good.
And then you put the bishop on b2.
b2, and you get this long castle
Yeah.
kind of play.
Mhm.
All right. So after all, the King's Gambit is winning,
Yeah, more or less.
more or less. So f4, d5. Were you expecting d5 from Michalewski?
Usually he goes bishop c5 actually, so I look more on the declined.
Mm-hmm.
But he had one game with d5.
Mm-hmm. So d5 was played. Bishop c5. As far as I know, this is fairly decent for white. So it's like
for both.
yeah, it's kind of okayish, and you have some free initiative.
When I was young, I was playing
Yeah.
with knight f3, d6, b4.
Oh, nice. Basically, a King's Gambit version of the Evens Gambit.
It's a nice mix.
Yeah, I love it. With takes, then c3, and then I guess d4.
Yeah.
So let's go back to d5. Takes, takes, knight f3. Did he play these moves fairly fast?
Who? He was thinking a bit. I was okay. I
Oh, so he was
playing
taking his time.
this. Yeah.
Knight d5, castle, bishop b6 here, and I think bishop d6 is not that great.
c5 is
Yeah.
the main line here, and then white usually goes d4, takes, takes, and bishop c5.
I take
Okay, with
with
the
knight,
Yeah.
bishop c5.
hmm
And I mean, you definitely have strong pressure.
Yeah, go king h1,
Come on.
and at some point I'll get this pawn back.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
black is also fine.
Black is also fine there. I heard
Yeah, bishop
some
d6
news
I didn't
about
know.
Bortnik, and it ended in a draw. Yes, Bortnik Swerts was a draw. So what were you saying?
No, bishop d6 I didn't know, so
Mhm.
I started to think here. But I knew that this idea with sacrificing the c4 pawn
Mm-hmm.
exists, but I thought usually with the bishop on e7. I was not
Mhm.
sure what was the difference.
So c4, d4, but this felt very, very good.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, knight c4, rook e1. What were you calculating here? Was rook e1 your first and only choice?
Well, I thought d5 might not work,
Mhm.
and there was queen e2 also. But this is not so bad. Yeah, I thought d5, bishop c5, king h1, and then he takes with something on d5. And I was not sure what I had here.
And maybe some attack on these, because this knight is a little bit loose. That's the main problem. And also, we can finally get that bishop out from c1. And if you
that's
ever
really
played the
kind.
King's Gambit, you know the hell when the c pawn is stuck there forever.
Yeah, true. So I went for the solid line.
Rook e1. I mean, it's still kind of strong. As I talked with Caleb, this is a triple threat. So knight e3 was just right there
more or less
to
forced.
survive.
And then
Takes,
I thought I would get some pawns back.
So did you consider taking on e3?
Yeah, but I thought that if I take both pawns on e, black is
It's
fine
just
because
fine.
so I had to try to
Muddy
create
waters.
some yeah. But I knew that this idea could be slightly dubious. But okay. Yeah,
Actually, it was very interesting. Knight d7, queen e4,
So here he says that e5 looks quite interesting.
e5.
Yeah, because he was
Yeah.
thinking like 40 minutes on this position, and I didn't know why. For me, rook b8
Yeah.
was like supernatural.
Yeah.
But then he said that he was thinking e5
D?
takes, knight takes, knight takes, queen f6.
Oh, some checkmating stuff.
Yeah.
And if I even
Knight f3, queen b2, queen
knight
c4,
f3, king b2.
and king h8, and he have rook f3 and queen f2 coming.
Yeah, rook f3
So-
is brutal.
So, probably I should go something else.
So something like knight c3.
Yeah. And then I have knight
Knight
g5
G5.
ideas.
Yeah.
Positions too.
Yeah.
Quite complicated.
Interesting. So e5
Yeah.
might have been a better choice.
But-
Actually, this does happen to many of us. Like, you think for 40 minutes at the critical move, play something else and regret it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we were considering rook e8 here. Maybe it's just to go and get the knight on d5.
Yeah, it's possible.
This is also very normal. But okay, rook b8 is a fine move.
And I like knight a3 because if b3, I have some problems with the diagonal, no? And even if you play c5, it's an improved version. no?
Yeah, this is completely in the way.
So knight a3,
A3.
I want to go to c4, and the knight's really well on c4,
Yeah.
no? And if he takes on a3, I get rid of this bishop that is
Yeah.
strong, no?
Yeah, and now all of these pawns are super weak. It's interesting. This kind of reminds me of the Queen's Gambit accepted with the e4
yeah.
lines.
Uh-huh.
Knight f6 takes
Yeah.
knight c4.
Well,
and
here it was good. That position is
Yeah.
still okay, but he had like 1 minute, so.
1 minute. Wow. What was your time count?
1 hour 20.
1 hour 20. You're reaching the heights of Nepomniachtchi.
No, far away.
Far away from that. So bishop f4, and I felt that bishop f4 is just misplacing this bishop. It's logical, but it's misplacing it.
But well, at least he defends the pawn. No, that
That's
was
true.
the idea.
g3, bishop h, rook it.
And here I realized that okay, I can try to attack, but he's defending like he
Yeah.
has a lot of pieces there. So I thought
Yeah.
the end game would be really pleasant.
Yeah.
No,
So let's fast forward to the
positional King's Gambit.
yeah, the positional King's Gambit. Yes, and actually you're just positionally so much better.
Yeah.
So here you have a great position. And I guess you were surprised to see g6.
No, I
really?
was waiting to see what he was gonna do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's
So-
actually not that easy to come up with a constructive
Yeah,
plan.
and okay, I'm bringing my king. No, my king
Yeah.
can go to g3, f3, f4 in some lines, and then d3.
Even, yeah.
And it's not clear what he's doing. No.
Yeah, and I mean, you're just dominating. It's really hard to move.
Mhm.
But after g6, this knight d7 is just
Yeah,
over.
then it's
And
over.
After this one, this is just winning. And after basically bishop g7, knight takes b6, it was basically over.
Yeah, I can bring the king, and
King,
at some
yeah.
point I'm gonna activate the rook.
Yeah.
So.
And a very nice win.
Yeah,
It's good to see the return of the King's Gambit once in a while.
You know, when people are desperate,
Yeah, yeah.
these kind of things happen.
Desperate actions for desperate times.
I wanted to go knight f7 to see if I have rook e5 mate. But,
Yeah, that'd be a super cute
but he
checkmate.
can defend it.
But he can
unfortunately.
defend, yeah. But anyways, it's still winning. And after this...
And then I have rook d7 mate coming.
Yeah, this one coming, which is also pretty cool.
Mm.
It's a very nice win.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Who are you playing next?
I don't
You don't know. Even better.
Now there is not many people.
Oh,
but
that's true. You might be able to
I know that I
calculate
have
now.
two games with black now.
Mhm.
So
Even more chances to
yeah,
win.
there are many more gambits to try.
Many more gambits to try, yes. All right, so
Okay.
a nice King's Gambit win,
Thank you.
and hope you keep up the good spirit.
Thank you.
All
Thank you.
3 games left, and let's take a look what's still going on. Let's go back to the Copian game as it's kind of heating up. As predicted, White was planning to take the h5 pawn and did after some preparation, like queen d1, bishop takes h5. And the Copian, even though down to 1 minute and 57 seconds, he still finds the best possible maneuver of getting the king out of the danger zone.
All right, so yeah, Var is packing up and leaving.
Yes, backing up and leaving.
But maybe he's a bit too late, right? I don't know.
It's a good
The white
question.
rooks are coming in quite quickly.
Yeah.
And what's that move that Ray just played? It
Ray
looks
just
as
played
though-
bishop f3.
Okay, so he's choosing not yet to capture on
Yes.
g6.
So, at this moment, we kind of suspect that there could be only 2 results.
Right. Yeah, I
But-
don't ever see Black winning this game.
But
Surely you're not about to suggest that Black
I'm
might win this
going
game.
to suggest something though.
Okay.
So bishop f3 might, if White has a good plan of doubling and let's say winning something
Right.
or playing on the h file, it's still a game for 2.
Okay.
A win or a draw. But if someone dare touch the g pawn and push it 1 square forward,
Right.
it can suddenly turn into anyone's game. So let me-
Interesting. Well, yeah,
let
that
me-
seems like it would be a mistake for White because this f5 square is something that
And-
the Black Knight would love to use,
Yeah.
and the Black Bishop would also, of course, be
Yeah.
opened up.
And even though this is kind of unreasonable because bishop e4 is pretty strong immediately,
Right.
but even if I would play like some moves and still g4, Black's pieces come alive. Even if I give up the e6 pawn, it's not a big deal. And suddenly every Black pieces live.
Right.
Because they were just waiting for the sign of
Okay.
g4 showing up.
Yeah, I'm expecting Ray's just going to play a bit more simply. You know, just triple on
Yeah.
the h file, maybe put a rook on h6, and generate some threats that way.
Yeah, so queen e2 was played, and possibly this will be a game for 2 results, but if Robson might feel that he wants to win this game anyways, it's going to be the g4 move, but then it's going to be anyone's game.
All right, that'll be interesting to watch. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. Other than that, we haven't taken a look at so many games in the A group. How is Melkumian Smirin doing? I think that's the last game that we haven't looked at yet.
Yep. So, if my pawn count is correct, it's equal.
Right, I agree. 3 to 3.
3 to 3.
Wait, no. Okay, yeah, 3.
Yeah, it's 3.
It checks out. And
Let's say I
if-
defend the pawn.
yeah, if anything,
Yeah, maybe here
I
I
would
could
prefer White.
I could start hassling you, and this would be dangerous because this knight bishop is dominated by this knight, and that would be not great.
Sure, definitely don't want to run into such quite such
Yeah.
Terrible passivity there.
Yeah, but
so how can Black naturally defend this
so
pawn?
actually there's this very nice active defense move.
Yes.
Active defensive move. You take it, but then I have a bishop d6. I can check, but this pawn and this knight is double attacked. So more than likely I will have just enough. Either if you defend it, I move up with my king, and this is kind of this typical Marshall kind of compensation. I have active piece play with this active rook and bishop, while even though I'm down a pawn, you can't really do anything to me.
All right. Well, while these games keep going on, I think in just a moment here we're going to take a quick look at a special offer from Ryan Chester and go on a quick, short little break.
Let's take a look.
Anything interesting to say before we leave, Dennis?
No, I think we're ready to
All right.
take a
so,
look.
Of course.
Hi, my name is Ryan Chester, and I'm the development manager for the St. Louis Chess Club. I'm here to tell everyone about a golden opportunity that we have right now. We're selling golden tickets for $50 a piece. It's a 50-50 raffle. $5,000 will go to the Scholastic Chess Initiative for the St. Louis Chess Club, and $5,000 will go to a lucky winner. We're only selling 200 of these, and we've already sold many to grandmasters and all of our commentary team as well. So if you're interested, please call the Chess Club or go to our website on the homepage and buy a golden ticket there. Thank you and good luck.
When you visit St. Louis, you'll probably want to watch the Cardinals or the Blues. What about after the game? Heading back to the hotel would be a major error. Instead, boogie through the city and discover the music that gave the Blues their name at the National Blues Museum, Broadway Oyster Bar, or even the legendary Blueberry Hill. So whether you love the Cardinals, the Blues, or the Blues, come play with us. And you guys know I can't play this, right? St. Lou is always exploring.
Is that you, Mr. Matheny?
Can we get your autograph?
Yeah, of course.
I think it's pretty cool that you love chess so much. We love chess too.
I joined my school's chess program and got to meet a real-life grandmaster.
And I got a trophy this big.
One time, I played a police captain after school and checkmated him in 27 moves.
Wow, I should be asking for your autographs. Check out all chess has to offer at stlouischessclub.org.
Be surprised. Be intrigued. Be delighted. The World Chess Hall of Fame in St. Louis is nothing you'd expect and everything you love. 3 galleries highlight the history, culture, and creativity behind the game. Explore chess in ways you never imagined. It's a one-of-a-kind cultural institution where rare artifacts and world-class art play together. The World Chess Hall of Fame. Mind, art, experience.
A question on Twitter from Damas. I should not have pronounced that. That was a bit of a trap, yeah?
For those of you who are new to chess, it might look like ba3 is an illegal move here because white advances pawn 2 squares, not 1. But it's a little something we call en passant. And you can do that, but you have to do it instantly. You can't wait for a move, like let's say play king e7, king g2, and now try, because could I do it?
I'm sorry. This is too funny for words.
This is a software glitch? I'm pretty sure there's not allowed.
Lawrence. Hello, Lawrence. Yeah, I'll play 4 against Lawrence. And now he's going to play something against me which we discussed at length during the course of my stay. Yeah, he told me this is excellent. But d5, this was what I was kind of hoping for, because now I think e5 is quite strong. No, Lawrence, this is not how chess works. Sadly, it would be much, much more fun if chess actually worked like this. But I don't think it does. Or maybe it does. Well, that's me regretting what I just said. How did I get from there to here is a little bit beyond me. And what's worse, I will never hear the end of it. My quality of life has just gone downhill tremendously because I'm actually sharing the office with the guy.
Hi, my name is Ryan Chester, and I'm the development manager for the St. Louis Chess Club. I'm here to tell everyone about a golden opportunity that we have right now. We're selling golden tickets for $50 a piece. It's a 50-50 raffle. $5,000 will go to the Scholastic Chess Initiative for the St. Louis Chess Club, and $5,000 will go to a lucky winner. We're only selling 200 of these, and we've already sold many to grandmasters and all of our commentary team as well. So if you're interested, please call the Chess Club or go to our website on the homepage and buy a golden ticket there. Thank you and good luck.
A golden opportunity indeed. Make sure you get your golden tickets before it's too late. Once again, they are drawing those on September 30th.
Talking about drawing.
Yeah, well.
Bortnik and Svirts drew their games, so let's take a look at that one.
Absolutely.
So e4, e5, very standard.
Oh,
and
then
fear.
Did White play the correct first move?
Nope.
Or
He
a
made a
second
big
move?
mistake. He played bishop c4.
Not even challenging the e5
But
pawn.
as Alexander Fear pointed out, f4,
White is winning.
win.
Yeah.
So bishop
Okay.
c4.
But forgivable mistake, developing his pieces.
Yeah, he at least developed a piece. Knight f6, defended the pawn with d3. This is all standard stuff. c6. Black is actually taking advantage that the e5 pawn doesn't need defense, so he does not need to play knight c6 first, so he can build a center with d5. Knight f3, d5, bishop b3, check. It's interesting to mention that this is not Bortnik's first game playing this line. He, I think, faced a5 in the Vasiv Durabelli game, where he was again white.
Right.
So bishop b4 check was played, bishop d2 takes, queen takes d2, a5, a4. And interestingly, this is a big favorite of the Chinese players, especially the super talent Wei Yis.
Yeah, with the white pieces or the black pieces?
The white pieces.
Interesting. So why does White go for this line, where Black gets some central pressure going on, where he gets to advance very quickly?
So White is trying to put pressure on the center, and if d takes e4, then White actually has knight f7 ideas. Rook takes f7, d takes e4, and with two pawns for the eventual two pieces, this is a decent try for an advantage. Note that you have to take, and if you move the knight, I can take this eventually and have two pawns and a rook for the piece.
perfectly reasonable position and possibly an advantage here for White.
There's
if
a
something like
chance
this were to
that
occur.
White can play for an advantage. But Svirts knows his stuff. He castles. E takes d5, c takes, knight takes e5. So this was practically a pawn sacrifice.
Right.
But if we're just a little bit familiar with the Marshall, we know that a bishop on b3 staring at the d5 pawn never means that you're going to win the game.
Yes, understandable.
Knight c6.
With that extra pawn sitting on c2.
Yeah.
Tough to imagine it generates
Yes.
much.
d4, queen b6. Note that Svirts is immediately putting pressure, not waiting for White to actually develop his pieces.
Finding counterplay.
Takes, knight e4, and the counterplay is getting really real because bishop a6 will also come with a tempi, and the d4 pawn is starting to get a bit loosey-goosey. Queen e3, bishop a6, rook e1, queen b4. Probably thinking of maybe even taking, because even though here you could be up a pawn, but honestly, it's
with this structure, it's like
this structure.
The light squared bishop is never going to see daylight again, unless White were to play something like c4.
Yes.
But then the bishops might get traded.
Yes. And also, if push comes to shove, rook fe8 is also fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So f3 was played. Rook a8 was the response, which is very nice, pointing out that your rook is not defended.
Looking for
So
some
if you
skewers.
take, I'll take everything. So knight d2 had to be played. Queen d2, f takes e4, queen b4, e5, f6. And again, the main issue, this guy, is not playing, it's staring at a brick wall.
A terrible piece.
Called c6, d5. And if this were to be on f3, we would be celebrating today.
But instead, you have this black bishop on a6 cutting through the position, eyeing e2 and especially the f1 square.
Yeah.
Makes
So
it very difficult for White to do
Rook
anything.
ad1 was played, takes, rook f5. And the main issue is for White that even though you're up a pawn, you don't have a constructive plan. And so it's not surprising that the game soon will end in a draw, as white doesn't really have a coherent plan. Bishop c4 takes d4, and the game is soon fizzling out to a draw.
Yeah, the rook's not much of an advantage here at all.
Yes.
Especially with this d pawn
Yeah.
that white will have to look out for. They're going to have to take a more defensive setup
Yeah.
rather than trying to make any threats.
So the only way to be aggressive is to attack the g7 pawn, but even if you win that, I have a passed pawn, you can't really get rid of that one, so the game will likely end in a draw anyways.
Right.
So that's why the players just agreed in a draw.
Yeah, pretty relevant stuff for the A group. Of course, Daro and Bortnik, two of the players, hoping to make a little bit more progress towards the leaders. Daro's still sitting on 50%.
But on popular demand, we heard that people might want to see the Zirk
yes.
Amon Hambleton game.
And they do have a somewhat interesting position right now for the moment. It looks as though white has more queens than black. But
yeah, black
has,
seems to be running out of queens.
Yes. You only get the one.
You only get to have one.
Good to make use of it while you still can.
But if you want to collect, you should collect some more.
Okay.
So it seems Zirk did collect an extra queen.
Yeah, but in exchange now, Amon actually has a rook and a knight and one or two pawns as well.
Yeah, so it's not that black is completely lost, because this knight on c5 gives some stability to the position.
A very important piece.
On the downside, let's talk about islands again.
Ah, yes. So how many weak pawns does black have?
Ooh, a lot.
Yes.
I don't know if I can count that far.
I like my math skills.
Okay.
B6, D6, soon to be F5, if white were to capture there. G6, you could qualify as well. And if E takes F does happen, then H5 I think will be weak as well.
So 5 is the number.
Yes. Oh, and God forbid the B6 pawn moves, then A5 is weak.
Oh no, that's too many pawn moves. So let's stick with 5 pawn islands.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like every part of black's camp is kind of suspect to attack, which
Yes.
makes ideas of like a fortress really seem a little bit more far-fetched.
Yes. On the other hand, Amon's rooks are glorious.
It's true.
And were white to go nuts, he could even win with them.
Of course.
But obviously this is a Grandmaster tournament, so Zirk will not give away his queen for just a single rook.
Well, no, but there is this problem of the white king as well.
Yes.
If white goes a little bit crazy ever, then maybe these rooks will infiltrate and at least generate some threats of perpetual,
Yes.
if not more.
So the only thing going for Amon here is f takes e4, being on the cards.
Right.
But it's just a pawn, and this king still can safely be stationed on h3.
Yeah, are there immediate problems for black here? So rook c8 was played.
Yeah.
I don't think black has the option to block with rook e8 because then you would run into this problem where you could take and take on f5.
And this is completely losing.
Yeah, of course. So instead you have to move your king. If you go to somewhere like h7, I'd be slightly concerned about moves like queen c3 or queen b2, eyeing up this h8 square.
And this is deadly.
So I guess this leaves black with maybe only one option, and that's to play king f7, but
and that's what Amon played.
It looks a bit shaky to me. There's these dark squared problems where white is really threatening to infiltrate before black can find some counterplay.
And in fact, that's probably the best idea to start infiltrating.
Yeah, so queen d2, what can black even do?
Well, if you sit around, this is just over.
Yeah, 100%.
Probably is just so you must take.
Okay.
So the question is, you could give a check. You could go queen h6 maybe.
I think I'll just play queen h6.
Okay.
From the top
Let's
of my
say
head.
that for argument's sake, if I take.
Okay, I wanted to play king h3 and hope I could hide on this square until the end of time. Hopefully the end of time coming when you're checkmated.
Yes. So I assume you want to go here.
Yeah, I was thinking with the queen, but we can play your move as well.
That's true.
So
you get, maybe I get more stylistic points.
All right. So
but probably no stylistic points needed because the knight will just take that
97.
square from the rook and the queen.
And then I guess I don't really have much here. I can give a few checks, but maybe I even run out of those.
Yeah. But if anyone would ask me on the street which side I would want to play, without hesitation, I'll go white.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Though, you know, I feel like I've played this quite poorly for white here, and this f-pawn might cause some problems.
Yeah, it might cause some problems, but I'd still rather be white. Anyways, king f7 and queen c1 was played.
See, the good news for black is it seems as though if, you know, white isn't quite fast enough to just forget about everything and try to checkmate.
Yeah.
White does have to respond a little bit at least to some of black's threats.
Yeah. The bad news is if white is super precise, I don't see black lasting long.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to be precise here with white than it is with black. Black makes one mess up, then all of a sudden he's dead lost.
Yeah.
Whereas white can mess something up and, oh, okay, maybe now it's supposed to be a draw, but black still has to play accurately. White can mess up again, and it's still supposed to be a draw. Whereas one slip up from black, and that could spell that just absolutely danger.
So this still does look disastrous for Aman, who is kind of having a rough tournament, as far as I know.
Yeah, this definitely one of his worst
maybe.
performances that I've seen him play.
Yeah.
But you know, just got to keep on playing. Yeah. There's 3 more games to go.
Unfortunately, it does happen. Like I've seen, even on the highest of the high levels, like Anand floundering on the button in like big tournaments, and he still came back strong. So I wouldn't write off Aman. This is just an uncharacteristically bad tournament for him.
Yeah, I don't know if it's comforting or depressing that you can get to be as good at chess as a player like Aman Hambleton, and then still every once in a while a tournament just comes up where it's like you can't get the job done.
It just says that how tough it is to play against such good opposition if you're not in your toppest of forms.
I definitely agree.
So with that,
so it seems as though the players in the Ray Robson Varakobian game are following your advice slightly, having brought both of their kings over to this queen's side.
Probably it's not just me who's interested in vacations, but the black and white king as well.
Yes, going on a day trip over to the queen's side.
This king will be going to b7, and the white king will be a day tripper to b2. And
Sunday driver.
Yes, Sunday driver.
Yes. Wonderful weekend in St. Louis.
Knight d7, rook g8, rook h6. And I'm not sure what they do, but today it seems that they are just shuffling a lot.
Yeah, you know, of course, they did just hit move 40, so they just got some extra time. So maybe now we'll find some meaningful shuffling.
Yes. The only issue here with white is if you consider taking, let's say here, h takes. Oh, no, 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 no. H takes. I'll promote this guy. So this seems like the Persian-Greek War. There's just not enough space to push on through, as the Persians never did break through the Greek fortress.
Okay. Perhaps white is in need of a Trojan horse then, in order to open up the position. And I think I know white's idea. After this last move, queen g2, he's kind of telegraphing that he might be considering to put his horse onto this d5 square and rip open the black center.
That's a gift.
A gift that you do not want to take?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So, for example, e takes d, bishop takes d, knight takes, queen takes, and now white would have a couple connected passers in exchange for the full piece, but I'm not totally convinced that this is the
Unfortunately
the way to go.
for white, black will have enough moves to blockade all those pawns.
Yeah. It's a situation where if white could play like this and give away the dark squared bishop instead, then maybe there's something to it. But with black having the light squared bishop, it's very easy to set up a blockade.
Yeah, probably
that'll
this
be
would turn into
unassailable.
a Greek tragedy.
Ah, yes.
And not the end of the Trojan War.
Well,
So that's why he played King B2, but
Right.
so there's a high chance that this game is going to be a draw, but as I mentioned before, G4 might make the position double-edged.
interesting.
And I think Robson might consider playing that if he really wants to win the game. But also I agree with Caleb that this wouldn't be the first game where I see 40 more moves played and then knight takes d5.
Yeah.
So
it's
always
easy
keep
to get
the Trojan
frustrated
horse
here.
in mind.
Yeah, with the white pieces, I can imagine getting a little bit frustrated where it's like you have all this extra space, you can pile up all of your pieces over
Yeah.
here, but it seems as though your opponent just has enough pieces in response.
Yeah.
It's tough to break through.
So probably this will be a three-way game after a potential g4, either now or later. But note that this queen is not too far from building a battery, and that's not just dangerous, it could even be mate.
Yeah, black does in fact still have the space advantage on the queen's
Yeah.
side. So if things open up on the king's side and black can really invade, then I think the white king is actually probably in more danger than the black king.
Yes. So g4 might open up the game again, and I wouldn't be 100% sure I would know the result of the game.
All right.
So the Smirran...
So it seems as though
Melkumian-
we do have a result there.
Yes.
Actually, I believe Hrant Melkumian and Ilyas Smirin have agreed to a draw, which is of course what we were expecting from that game.
Yep.
Just another equal end game.
Yes. And we have only one game left. But before
yeah,
that...
one game left in the A group and one game left in the B group. And it looks actually as though a lot of progress has been made in that game between Amon Hamilton and Steven Zirk.
Let's take a look at
with
that.
one pair of rooks being traded off and white invading with the queen.
So Zirk, unfortunately to Hamilton fans, is being really precise. Obviously you can't go and run for it because I made you in two. Have to play rook f6, but bam, rook f8.
There it
You
is.
can't defend this rook anymore. Takes. The main problem is I'm going to take this pawn with a check. Or the g6 pawn with a check. You have
Everything
to choose.
falling with check,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
So let's say here, takes.
Seems reasonable.
Here, I'd take this one, because why not?
Mhm.
And this still looks awful. Not that you can't potentially, if you can, do some magic and put this rook on e6.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
given
a
a-
fortress.
Given a move or two,
Yeah.
maybe black could come up with something, but it's tough to find
Yeah.
the time.
So if you could somehow get your rook to e6, you can build a fortress. But I
Yeah,
heard
I
like
think,
proponents of anti-fortress people, namely Magnus Carlsen,
Yes.
saying, yes, the term exists, but the whole thing doesn't.
Right. Of course, Magnus does not believe in fortresses.
No fortresses.
And you can imagine here, even if black did somehow put this rook on e6, there's still paths for the white king to kind of invade. And that's going to be a big problem for black in the future.
Also, the other issue is I might walk my king up, play g4. Let me even do that. Oh, I can't because it's not my turn. g4, takes. The issue is I'm going to go to g5.
Yeah, there's this path in.
Yes.
And then after the king gets to g5, if a check is ever given to the black king,
Yeah.
then the white king can come to
If
h6.
I could ever get to the 7th rank, it's going to be over.
It's looking a lot like checkmate.
Yes. Or Christmas.
Depends on who you are. I
Yeah, it
guess.
depends who you are. But in any case, this looks like a field trip to Zirk and not much fun for Amon.
Yeah. So are there any results that we did not actually take a glance at
We
yet?
did not take a look at the the Lenderman Vassiv Durabelli game.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Okay. That game, of course, ended in a draw.
Yeah.
And yeah, Lenderman coming off of a tough game yesterday where it looked as though he didn't achieve too much out of the opening with the white pieces.
But he was never really in danger if he wanted to hold.
Never in danger, and then chose to make things a little bit interesting, and it kind of backfired on him.
Yeah.
And that's how Ray Robson got his lead in this tournament.
Ne riskuet, ne champagne. So no risk, no champagne.
Me too. Okay.
You too. And I
So
might
here,
have messed it up.
we have in English.
Yep, this is the classical hedgehog. It would be with c5, but Durabaili went for bishop e7, transposing back to this classical line. Rook e1 is a stem Kramnik move, preparing e4 without actually telling you if I'm going to play knight c3 or not. Knight a6, waiting for knight c3, then you could at least pin.
Yep, pretty thematic stuff.
A3 saying, no, I want to play knight c3 and then e4. But then Vasif says, I haven't seen enough Benoni in this tournament. c5. d5 takes, knight h4, knight e4. This is a typical way of getting the Benoni structure.
Right.
There is like a threat of pushing the pawn and being a pawn up.
Yeah, there is this difference here in this structure, though, where the light squared bishop for black ends up on b7, looking at the center, which there's some cases where that's advantageous, but there are also other times where it ends up being rather stunted on b7.
So c takes d5, wanting to take that knight, but Vasif wants to take the other knight.
Okay.
Bishop f6. Obviously, this is a no-no, because I'll take you. Knight c3, d6, and voila, Benoni.
Okay,
Bishop
we did it.
Knight c7, queen d3. And now Duraibeli admits that if we could ever go back with pawns in chess, we'd prefer to unmove this g6 pawn and put it back to g7 and just play h6.
Ah, yes.
Because this is way more stable than the g6, h7, but you can't have a Benoni without it, normally.
Yeah, understandable.
So
some more key differences here then.
Key differences. So rook d1, rook e8, queen c2, b5. And as we already talked with Aram Hakobian, when you see b5 coming in the Benoni, that does not mean that things are going bad for black.
Yeah, definitely. Black achieving some necessary breaks.
Yeah.
But you know, not to say that white's position is bad here.
It's not bad, but black's position is not worse anymore.
Okay.
So bishop g2, and I think Lenderman kind of realized that it's time to pull the brakes a little bit. So he's preparing knight e4 to attack the d6 and the f6, the d6 pawn and the f6 bishop. So b4, knight e4, bishop e5, and lots of exchanges happen. Bishop d5, knight c4, rook h5.
Okay, so white has lost the d-pawn, but very often in Benonis, even if the white's d-pawn falls, that actually leaves the d6 pawn a little bit more susceptible to attack. So definitely not too much to worry about here for white.
Yes, rook h5 was actually a very nice move by Vasif, as he might hope for queen d7, queen h3 ideas, but unfortunately for him, Lenderman is good at liquidating here, and even though white has like a slight pull, because these pieces are slightly better than black's, it's not enough for an advantage, and the draw is the most likely result. So knight b6 takes, queen e7, rook d3, rook d8.
Yes,
Basically, black has enough pressure to neutralize white's initiative.
And that's exactly what happens.
Yes. So a5 takes, and after these exchanges, the players agreed to a draw, as queen e4, queen b1 will be a perpetual check.
Right. Definitely.
Or just queen takes b2 if you just want to take the pawn.
Definitely a draw on the more interesting side, though.
Yes.
Both players kind of navigating their ideas and reaching the natural conclusion of chess. Chess is a draw, unless you play the King's Gambit.
Yes.
Well, as we are running a little bit short on time here, but I did want to take another look at this Ray Robson game, because he has actually played g4.
I told
the key
you.
break.
I told you that you can trust Ray trying the last possible chance
Yes.
to make the game interesting.
And he decided now was the time. So of course, Var has actually been thinking about this move for quite a while,
Yes.
which is understandable. This is a pretty key moment.
So,
So what's going on if
we
Black just
take-
captures?
Yes.
This is the most natural
So
move.
bishop
of course.
g4 kind of feels the normal move,
Yeah,
as we want to
the
pile
idea
on
is
the e6.
Open up this diagonal, put more pressure.
If knight f5, then I think it's time to bring in the Trojan horse.
Yes.
Boom.
Finally. Finally.
And
the tactic works.
finally, the Trojans fall, as everything's falling as well.
So knight f5, not a possibility here.
Not a possibility, but that's kind of annoying because you really want to block that view. And even if you go here, I might just consider this one, and this battery might prove deadly. Even if you would move the bishop, I still have 1, 2, 3, 4 attackers that might just outnumber you.
Definitely. So maybe Black should not be capturing this pawn
Yeah,
then.
probably on second thought, it should not be captured.
So what happens if Black just sits and plays
Let's say
Queen d7? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Now
going
there's a
on?
big difference. If we would take, I think that's something not really on the best of ideas. Maybe knight takes f5, hitting the rook. And
Yeah, it's not the most comfortable way for White to continue.
probably, so if we like these sacrifices, it's time for us to go crazy.
I do like going crazy.
So
And
let's
yeah, maybe
see.
now there's actually going to be some kind of attack on the Black king.
Yeah. Let's see what happens if e takes. I assume we check.
Yes, definitely
King
need the queen on the
B8.
board. And stuff like, I don't know, is rook takes f5 too much to do?
Okay, let's do it. But I think that's a bit dangerous because you would bring my queen to checkmate you, as we talked before.
I do not like getting checkmated.
But knight f6 looks like an idea.
Yeah,
Maybe.
absolutely.
Bringing in the family fork. And let's say rook h2. And as some popular band would say, we would start rolling, rolling, rolling.
Yes.
And I don't think that you should be shocked that this is pretty nice for white.
Yeah, this is definitely shaping up to be one of the games of the tournament.
Yeah.
Of course, these players are going to need a lot of time to figure this one out.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we are coming to the close of our show. So why don't we hear one last time from Ryan Chester with another special offer on the golden tickets.
Let's do that.
Hi, my name is Ryan Chester, and I'm the development manager for the St. Louis Chess Club. I'm here to tell everyone about a golden opportunity that we have right now. We're selling golden tickets for $50 a piece. It's a 50-50 raffle. $5,000 will go to the Scholastic Chess Initiative for the St. Louis Chess Club, and $5,000 will go to a lucky winner. We're only selling 200 of these, and we've already sold many to grandmasters and all of our commentary team as well. So if you're interested, please call the Chess Club or go to our website on the homepage and buy a golden ticket there. Thank you and good luck.
All right, very exciting offer from Ryan Chester. I can hardly contain my excitement for this raffle coming up. But, okay, Danish, most of the games have finished. This key Ray Robson game, of course, is going to go long into the night, we believe. But why don't we take a look at the standings and see where we
Let's do
sit
that.
after 6 rounds in the Fall Chess Classic. So, of course, Ray Robson's game still in progress against Varakobian. We're not expecting him to lose this game, but honestly, almost anything could happen.
Almost anything could happen, and have a watchful eye on this game because fireworks might happen.
Definitely. Chasing him is Jordan Von Forest with 3.5 points, and after him are a myriad of players, all with a 50% score of 3 out of 6 in Alexander Linderman, Vasif Derbaili, Daro Swirtz, and Hrant Malkumian. And possibly Var if he manages to draw or even somehow win this game.
Yeah.
And how about the B group? Where do we stand there? Yasser Quesada Perez drew his game today, bringing his score to an astounding 5 out of 6. And Jack Stambuliak, former leader of Group P, of course he started with 3 wins, then only managed to follow that up with 2 draws. And today, he actually falls to the power of Alexander Fear's, to Aram Hakobian in a very
Going to
interesting
play Quesada. next round. So it's going to be a big match.
So it's looking as though Jack is falling off a bit from his early start.
Yes.
And of course, following them is Dennis Kadrich and Aram Hakobian, both on 3.5. A lot of players to look out for in this B group as we round into the final third of this tournament. Well, Dennis, what are you expecting for tomorrow? What should we be looking out for?
I'm kind of expecting a big battle between Quezada and Hakobian.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I will be very interested of what Ray Robson will do next round as well.
Yes,
because
Ray Robson
he's packing fire. He's been winning game after game, and there's a lot hanging in this one. So
yeah,
if
a
he
lot at
wins,
stake
probably, if he wins this game, he could go 5 in a row.
Yeah, insane.
Which would be astounding. But I think it's still up in the air what will happen in this one.
All right. Well,
so it's going to be a big battle.
We definitely recommend staying tuned at uschesschamps.com if you would like to see the conclusion of this round, see what happens in those final 2 games still going on. I know I'm going to be keeping an eye on Ray Robson's game.
Me too.
Expecting him to be here well into the evening with a position like this. As always, my name's Caleb Denby. I'm joined by the wonderful Grandmaster Dennis Boros, and we would like to thank you for watching, for joining us today. Be sure to join us tomorrow for round 7 coverage. And once again, thank you for watching our coverage of the 2019 Fall Chess Classic.
Be there.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club.